Coretta Castley, Module 5 assignment based off the case report, Pavlov's conditioning as a risk factor of heroin overdose death. First question asks, what are the implications of this article for working with those suffering from an opiate addiction? Well, for me, it was kind of hard for me to perceive that conditioning played a role in a heroin overdose. It was something I just found hard to believe. Even though there is the data to support the findings, I just don't see how a change in environment could cause an overdose in heroin or any other drug for that matter. For me, I took it like as a person using insulin, if that person changed that environment, I mean, will all of a sudden they become in a diabetic coma or something? I don't know. I just couldn't make the connection. But one thing I think the article was saying is that users in a familiar territory are less at risk, which I can kind of believe that because they have familiar faces, familiar environment around them. And like in the case with KJ, had he been home, maybe his wife would have gotten to him in time to get him help for the overdose. But by him being in a strange environment, the article didn't really say how long it took for someone to find him. Was he found right away? Was he left in that bathroom using that drug for how long? It really didn't say. So I wonder if the way a person or that person will to live, does that play a role in the overdose more so than the change in environment? Could at that particular time that person just doesn't have the will to live, or maybe they're giving up on themselves and life in general, and the change in environment just helps trigger the situation. I'm lost for words, but anyway, I'm just wondering if just more than just a change in environment plays a role in that situation. Because although in this situation they said there was the heroin was the same, there was no change in the doses or anything. I'm just thinking maybe there were other physical symptoms KJ could have had that could have played a role in his overdose. On to question 2. How would you explain the findings of this research to a client dealing with an opiate addiction? I will make the client aware that there is an increased chance of overdosing when you change the environment to which you are accustomed when taking or using your drug of choice. There is an association with how the brain reacts to the environment. It's like I would compare it to like someone having a routine as of getting up early to work out, and maybe they go out to another state in a different time zone, and their body is accustomed to getting up at a certain time, 6 a.m., working out in a certain environment, and how here all of a sudden you're in this new environment on a new time schedule, but yet your body and your mind is accustomed to waking up at a certain time and doing a certain thing at a certain time. That's pretty much, I believe this article was saying about those using heroin. So the brain associates the surroundings with the drug, and your body and mind are used to a familiar environment and can sense that, okay, we're in this environment. I know here you are about to use, and the body is ready, getting itself ready, and the mind is getting ready for you to use that drug. However, when you change that environment, it could put your body and your mind into a shock because they're not it's not used to you using in a new environment, and your mind and your body is not associating or talking to each other like it should be, and it's almost like you go into a state of shock, which could lead to the overdose. Okay, what practical advice can you offer based upon this research? For those battling addiction, I think a safe environment should be created where users can come use and get the clean needles. Sure, I know there are programs that give out clean syringes, but I have yet to hear of an environment that is safe for drug users to come in and use. Not that I'm condoning the drug use, but I think if society and environment, society and communities as a whole would try to be more understanding and not just think of a person a person dealing with addiction using drugs that's just solely based upon their choice to use. There are other factors that come to play: genetics, the way the person was raised, just a whole lot of other stuff that comes into play, and it's not just because they made that decision to use drugs. So I think that's important, that a safe environment where maybe they're trained staff, so if a person does overdose, someone is there to help them. Like in South Carolina now, first responders are able to give the drug naloxone, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to anyone that has overdose on an opiate. And I think this is very beneficial, that they're allowed to get this drug instead of versus waiting, calling 911, waiting for someone to come and get them to the hospital to administer the drug. At least their chances of survival are greater now that first responders are able to give this drug. I even think that those family members that have a loved one dealing with addiction, I think they should be able to have a prescription to the naloxone as well. So if that person was to overdose in the home, they have this drug, that can reverse the effects of the overdose. To me, it's no difference than someone allergic to peanuts and they have an EpiPen. I think this is something that needs to be worked on, and more talk needs to be about it. Like always, I think awareness is the key. Getting communities involved, letting them know. And until society and community starts to view addiction not as just a choice, but to also see the individual is struggling with other things other than the addiction. There are other factors there, and learn to accept people for who they are and love them and let them know that, hey, it's going to be okay. I'm here. And just be a listening ear sometimes. Sometimes that's all people need, is someone to listen. And I think once a person can see you're genuine, you're listening, you're concerned, then you can get in there and offer the help. Maybe they're not ready for it yet, but at least they know they have invested time in someone they can trust. So when they are ready to get the help, they'll be more comfortable and more willing to reach out. So that's my opinion on the article.